How do you winterize your boat? The complete guide to perfect boat storage in 2 parts. Autumn has arrived, and boat outings have become fewer. So, for most of us boaters, it's time to start storing the boat for the season. It doesn't matter whether you decide to keep your beauty in the water or on land. Winterizing is an extremely important procedure in both cases. It's nothing complicated, don't worry, but in this video we'll go through the steps you need to follow together. And to make your life easier, I've also created a handy winterizing guide with a general timeline. You'll find the link in the description. Download the PDF, print it out, and always keep it in your logbook. Winterizing in water or on land? First of all, you'll need to decide where your boat will spend the winter. If you're lucky enough to live by the sea, you might choose to winterize in the water. This will allow you to keep sailing even during the winter months and make the most of your boat for day trips, and even on weekends. It should be said, however, that this option doesn't eliminate the need for hauling out, which should be done at least once a year for hull cleaning and a general inspection of the boat. Moreover, by keeping your boat in the water, you'll have to deal with winter storms and increased wear and tear. It goes without saying that only those who are interested in continuing with Sunday outings should choose to leave their boat in the water. Dry storage, on the other hand, will make maintenance and cleaning operations much more convenient. And it's an extra layer of safety when it comes to winter storms. But that's not all. A boat hauled out of the water is much less susceptible to osmosis and humidity. That's why, after 3 years at sea, I decided to keep my Gentilina out of the water for a few months. In any case, whether you decide to winterize your boat on land or in the water, you'll need to carry out storage operations once a year. The goal is to return to your boat in the spring and make sure everything works properly. That's why properly winterizing the inboard engine is a task that should be done thoroughly. If yours is working perfectly and doesn't need any extra work, the procedures are simple and can be done completely on your own. The engine is mostly made of metal, so when we stop it, the biggest danger is oxidation and the stiffening of joints and gaskets. First of all, change the engine oil and oil filter. You can see the correct procedure in the video. Marine engine oil change. After that, you'll need to clean the cooling system, where air and salt water could have devastating effects. Disconnect the cooling hose from the sea intake if you're in the water. Of course, remember to close the safety valve and use the hose inside the tube. Turn on the water and let the engine run for a good half hour. This procedure will allow the pipes to be flushed and clean oil to circulate through the injectors and lines. You can add a specific cleaning product to the fresh water to tackle any possible buildup. After running the engine, remove the impeller from the water pump. If it stays still, it could become deformed. So, if it's in good condition, keep it safe and reinstall it when the boat goes back in the water. Another good practice to limit the entry of oxygen into the combustion chambers is to plug the exhaust pipe with a grease-soaked cloth. Now proceed to clean the exterior of the engine and all its accessories with a cloth soaked in lubricant. Pay special attention to hoses, fittings, and joints, using a generous amount of UD40 CRC. Now let's move on to the fuel tank. Assuming your tank is clean, the only thing you need to do is fill it up completely to prevent air from remaining inside. This could cause condensation and, as a result, water formation in the diesel. If your small boat has an outboard engine, check out the video on outboard maintenance. As you well know, the greatest danger for our boats is fire on board. So, especially if you'll be away from your boat for long periods, it would be best to disconnect the electrical systems. The only reason you might skip this step is if you're leaving your boat in the water. In this case, the automatic bilge pump will need to work to prevent flooding on board. So you won't be able to disconnect the batteries from the system. If, on the other hand, you haul your boat out of the water, disconnect all the contacts from the batteries and connect only the solar panels to them with a regulator. If you don't have solar panels or a suitable regulator, you should at least recharge them once a month. To prevent oxidation of the contacts, cover them with petroleum jelly, which can be easily removed when reconnecting the systems. It might seem obvious, but remember to close and disconnect the gas cylinders. Personally, I seal them in a plastic bag and store them in a dry place to prevent corrosion from brackish water. Water tanks are the perfect environment for the growth of bacteria and other microorganisms. So, if you want to avoid finding your water reserves at the base smelling bad and full of algae that could even clog the filters, go ahead and clean the tanks. You'll find the complete guide in the video Cleaning Tanks Water. As for the toilets, clean them thoroughly to remove any trace of seawater. Follow the same principle as with the engine. Fill the toilet with fresh water 3 or 4 times. Even better would be to disconnect the water supply hose, placing it in a bucket or the water pump so you can also rinse that part of the system. And finally, add some cooking oil, which will help protect the seals. First of all, completely empty and thoroughly clean the bilge. A rinse with fresh water is absolutely essential. Remember that salt is hygroscopic, so it retains water and, as a result, moisture. Proceed to clean the interiors. I know this might seem like a tedious step, but look at it in perspective. When you get back on your beautiful boat for maintenance, or to start sailing again, you'll find a clean and healthy environment, ready for any kind of operation. Clean the wood and surfaces with the appropriate products. And remember to get rid of any food that might attract those lovely little creatures called mice. It's unlikely to happen in the shipyard, but you can never be too careful. If you need to leave clothes, sheets, or blankets on board, I recommend using vacuum bags to protect them from dust, but especially from humidity. If possible, take all electronic devices home with you. Also remember to remove, thank you, all the batteries and store them in a dry place. Keep them away from the boat's bulkheads. Any objects, such as books, and leave mattresses and galley equipment propped up to prevent condensation from forming and the formation of mold. All the portholes should remain closed, so ideally you should come on board periodically to ensure good ventilation inside. Many times that's not possible, so in this case, leave all storage compartments open to help prevent mold. Place 1 or more moisture absorbers, depending on the size of your boat. And here we are, at the end of the first part of winterizing your boat. In the second part, we'll mainly talk about how to take care of the external components. As we've seen, winterizing isn't difficult, and anyone with a bit of willpower can do it themselves. If done properly, these steps will let you keep your boat under control and avoid annoying and unnecessary problems for the next season. Follow our checklist to the letter, which you can find in the description, print out, and make notes on. Also, always record in your logbook all the work you've done and what still needs to be done. I'm looking forward to your tips in the comments, and I wish you a good winterizing season. You can find all the products mentioned in this video on our store at Hinelson.com. And as always, remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, as well as follow us on our Facebook page. A big hello to all aspiring liveaboards, and see you in the next episode. Fair winds.